Hello and welcome to the Missouri Association for College Admission Counseling Virtual College Panels. We are really excited that you're here tonight and spending some time to learn about some awesome topics. This session is making the most of your campus visit. My name is Jennifer and I'm your facilitator tonight. In just a minute, I'll hand it over to our panelists, but I did want to start with a few housekeeping announcements to help all of us this evening. Your camera and your microphone are off. You are muted, and so the panelists therefore can't see or hear you, but you can still ask questions. You can use the Q&A button to type your questions to the presenters at any time. So you can just open that up right now and get ready with some good questions during the presentation. Just so you know, the Missouri Association for College Admission Counseling will be hosting a virtual college fair in a few weeks. In the 6x6 format, you'll get to learn about a lot of great different colleges and universities, the programs that they have to offer. We hope that you'll check the schedule, keep an eye on that website where you registered for this panel so that you can sign up to join us then. This panel, all the panels and all those 6x6 sessions are recorded, and you'll be able to find this session and the other panel recordings very soon at strivescan.com/Missouri. And in the future, you'll be able to find those 6x6 recordings there as well. All right, well, we are excited to get going on our topic tonight, making the most of our campus visits. I'm excited to hand it off to Mike Grzeski of Western Illinois University, who will be introducing himself, our other panelists, and kicking it off tonight. Mike?
Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate it. Again, hi, my name is Michael Grzeski. I'm the St. Louis Regional Admissions Counselor in St. Louis, Missouri for the metro area for Western Illinois University. Along with me are two of my other counterparts. If you want to introduce yourselves, Amanda.
Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda Sisk. I am a regional recruiter living in the St. Louis area for the University of Alabama.
Hi, everyone. My name is Emma Green. I'm the St. Louis Regional Representative for the University of Kansas.
Great. Thank you both. So we'll go ahead and get started. You will hear from Emma and Amanda here in a little bit. So this first slide here is just to show you an overview of what we're going to be talking about here. I'm going to be talking about just the starting point of everything, and then my counterparts will follow up with the other topics that we have here to discuss this evening. So I will go ahead and just have you go to the next slide, please. And so getting started. So the importance of a campus visit, well, it is a very important part. Statistically speaking, after the academic program being the most important part of why a student chooses a college, and then of course financial aid as well, the visit is a very crucial part. It's basically getting the chance to see the campus physically, see yourself there as a student. Whether or not the campus is in your backyard and you're not a commuter, you're still going to live on that campus, or if you're 3-4 hours way across the country, that's your home away from home for 4 years if you're entering into a 4-year institution, university or college, and if you're continuing on to grad school anywhere. So you want to be able to see that university or college, see what the residence halls are like, and if that's going to be a good fit for you, meet the staff, the faculty, everyone. And a great thing to ask yourself is when is the best time to start visiting colleges? Well, I think everybody here would agree with me when I'd say that it's never too early to visit a college campus. I mean, you see summer programs where you have grade school students and freshmen and sophomores in high schools going on to college campuses and staying there for a week and doing different camps on those college campuses. And that's a great way to get introduced to college campuses. What I would say is that the latest that you should start visiting a college campus would be in your junior year, and if possible, start during that fall semester of your junior year. But to make sure to give yourself that enough time to do it. Like I said, it's never too early, but I would say at the latest be the fall semester of your junior year. And just be on the lookout for certain dates. I mean, for example, October 11th coming up, that's Columbus Day. Great day to go because a lot of high schools are closed, but college campuses are open. So that's a day where you can use that as an opportunity to go visit as many colleges are open and many of them have visit programs. Also too, when getting started is knowing yourself, right? What are your abilities? Socially speaking, are you a person who gets out there and gets to mingle and know everybody? Are you a little bit, more hesitant about that? Also too, what are your academic abilities? What are, athletic abilities? Do you want to join any sports or any different types of programs? All of those things, you want to take that into account when looking. And also too, thinking about your needs. When I talk about needs, the first thing I'm going to talk about is, of course, do you have any sort of special needs? Do you have any disabilities, whether it's physical disability, a mental disability? Does the college accommodate those needs? Do you need a single room instead of being with a roommate? Any of those things that are right off the top of the list that are needs that you're going to have, and those are just examples, you want to make sure the college can accommodate that. Once, we all have stuff we want. We don't necessarily get everything we want, but let's say, you want to have your car on campus, especially for all 4 years. Some colleges don't allow that freshman and sophomore year. So that's something to take into account. Again, with the single room, does a college say to you, no, during your freshman year, you will have at least one roommate. There's no opportunity for a single room. And you want a single room. Well, you don't have that opportunity. So something else to think about. And then, of course, a financial plan. One of the big reasons a student chooses a college is because of the cost and what kind of financial aid they're getting. So, if it's your parents that are helping you, if you're responsible for it yourself, or if you have other family members or friends helping you to afford a college, can you afford that or not? And bring that as a part of your decision and where you're going to visit. Next slide, please. Types of schools. Well, if you think about it, you have your huge state schools. I mean, the biggest state school in the country right now is, I believe, either University of Arizona, Arizona State, I believe, and it's 80,000 plus students. Could you see yourself there? Are you at more of maybe not the giant state school, but maybe a more mid-sized institution, maybe at around maybe 10 to 15,000, or maybe you're more in the 20 to 30,000 mark. Some private schools also too, if you're looking at private schools, maybe you're thinking about that as well too. You've had private education or public education in high school. Do you want to continue with public or private? Also too, are you thinking about religious affiliation as well too with your schools? So there are some schools out there that are still all female, some that are still all male there at the college level. Does that factor in your situation at all? And then also too, you have your small private schools anywhere from 1,500 to 3,000. And then of course, also some students are thinking about maybe starting at a community college first. So these are the different types of schools you want to think about when visiting to get to that next level for college. There are all types of visits to think about when you're visiting. The informal, where maybe you're just passing through on vacation in the summertime, you're visiting a city, maybe visiting a family member, or maybe you're going and going out to like the state of Utah or Wyoming. Maybe you're going to visit Yellowstone, but you're nearby one of those towns that has their state school. Well, let's go visit. Let's take a day and go visit. Just stop by. Versus your formal visits where you're scheduling a visit, you're having a set time where you're going to meet certain people on campus, or maybe you're going to that campus and that's your first time visiting, but you're actually interviewing for a full tuition scholarship. That would be another very formal visit. Individual versus group, you can always utilize the admissions visit webpage to schedule an individual visit, meet with faculty and staff on your own, meet with an admissions counselor on your own. Anybody and everything, you can schedule that through the visit website. So look at visit websites for colleges. And then also you have your group days, your preview days, your open houses, where many students and their families are coming all together. And those are typically, there may be one on a weekend and then one like on a Monday, like on Columbus Day that's coming up that I talked about earlier. Weekday visits are usually better because you have more access to the faculty to talk to them, or staff members. Also, you get to see more students out and about and moving around and doing their different things. When you go on the weekend, campus may look a little dead, especially if it's early in the morning. Students may be sleeping in, or they're staying in their room studying, or at the library studying. So think about that as well. If you really want to see a lot going on and have access to a lot of different things on your visit, a weekday visit may be better. And of course, visiting with different academic programs to talk to faculty. If you're being recruited by a coach, they may ask you to come to campus and they're going to show you around. And also too, now with the time of COVID, there's lots of virtual visit options. Again, you can find those out on your visit web pages of the different colleges you're looking at. We're doing a virtual program here right now, and there's plenty of those that colleges are offering now throughout the year. We know that virtual is here pretty much to stay. We're learning from that, all this universities. So therefore, we're going to keep it as an option as well for you too. And of course, consider a practice visit. You know, here in St. Louis, for example, where I'm located, there are many universities. If you're not interested at all in staying in St. Louis to go to college, maybe just go to one of those colleges and do that as a practice visit, just to see what a college visit is like, how it's structured, what kind of questions should you ask, listen to what other students are asking. Next slide. And before you visit, there's a lot of research that you should, take a look at. Of course, location. I mean, if you do not want to be in the cold and in snow, maybe you shouldn't be in a college in the north. If you don't like rain, you don't like overcast weather, maybe don't be looking at the Pacific Northwest where they get a lot of that. Do you want to be in a college town in a rural setting where the college is the big bright star there of the town? Or do you want to be in a suburban or urban campus where you have the nightlife of the city and also things to do on campus versus the rural where everything is taking place on the college campus? Those are your social options. Just keeping that in mind. And then also too, how far away from home do you want to go? Before COVID, I was the numbers that I read was anywhere from about 3 to 5 hours where most students were looking to get away from home to go to college. During COVID, students now have been looking more 1 to 3 hours, but really it's just up to you. How far away are you willing to go and taking that into consideration? And also taking into consideration too, when you go to visit, if you're taking a visit to a school cross country, remember you're flying there, rental car, all of those expenses just to go visit. So wanting to get the most out of your visit. And also the culture, the culture of the campus, the culture of the area. I mean, if you think about it too, there's different parts of the country where things are really fast paced, moving, a little bit slower in certain areas of the country. Cost wise, again, maybe your parents are telling you this is a set budget that we have aside to pay for your college, or maybe you're paying for college, you know how much you're going to pay for. So if that one college is a reach for you financially, be looking at scholarships. But I would say across the board, any college you look at what scholarships they're offering. Find out during your visit, ask the admissions counselor, look on their website. And then also too, in-state versus out-of-state. What about the cost? If I go to an out-of-state school, are they going to charge me out-of-state tuition, or are they going to charge me in-state tuition? And do I want to stay in state? What are the benefits? What are the positives of going out of state? Those are things to think about with your visit. And also too, do you want to be at a private institution? Typically, they're a little smaller. They have smaller class sizes, smaller student to faculty ratio. Do I want to be at a big public institution like I talked about earlier? And also keep into consideration too, and ask this on your visit, is taking into consideration direct costs, which is your tuition, your meal plan, your room, but then also those indirect costs. So if you're going to have a car on campus, what does parking cost? I have to buy a computer possibly. Certain software, books. If I have to travel to campus, gas, if driving 3 or 5 hours to campus, or if I'm flying to and from campus because I have to take an airplane. And then of course, offerings, do they have my academic program? And student life wise, how many groups, organizations are on campus? Do they have my interest group? If they don't have my interest group, can I start a group of my own? What is there off campus to do if it's near a city? All the access to different opportunities, honors programs, things of that, what other opportunities do I have, internships, and then of course, support services. So when I was talking about earlier, if you're a student that has any kind of disability, can you accommodate me, whether it's a mental or physical disability, counseling, anything like that? Do I have that support system there as well? And take into account also, the size of the campus. Do you see yourself in an 80,000 plus size campus? Would you rather see yourself more at a campus at 10,000, 15 to 3,000? Athletics, do you care if it's Division I, Division II, or Division III? Is that a big deal for you? For some students, it is. The campus life, and also to the academics. I mean, you would just want to take all of those things, into consideration in regards to all of this, the campus setting, academic profile. Think about things such as what's the retention rate? What is the percentage of students continuing freshman year to sophomore year? How many students are graduating in 4 years, 5 years, 6 years? How many students are going on to graduate school? How many students are employed after they graduate? Internship opportunities. And then also too, what's the average test score, GPA, of a student being accepted into the school that you're looking at? So those are just some of the things to consider when looking at research. So now I'll hand it off to my next counterpart to talk more.
So once you have looked through and done all of that research and decided which schools you want to visit, the next step is scheduling those visits. So the first step would be and then seeing if they have which visit options they have available, when those are available, how those work with your school calendar, and then reserving your space. A lot of it's around weekends that many schools have off can fill up pretty quickly. So if you know that you want to come visit a campus, maybe on Columbus Day, you might want to go ahead and reserve that visit just to make sure that you have a space. As you're navigating the visit process, each school might offer different types of visits at different times, different sizes of visits. And if you have questions about those, reach out to your admissions representative and they can advise you on which type of visit might be the best for you and help you answer your questions. They can also help you plan out any additional experiences you're looking for. If you're going to travel somewhere to visit, you might want suggestions for hotels or local restaurants, other sites to see while you're in town to really help you get a feel for that, that campus and wherever it is located. They can also help you brainstorm any questions. I know I am a graduate of KU and so have lived that KU experience. That's not always the case with admissions reps, but in that instance, we are always happy to help give suggestions for your visit. The next thing to do would be to learn about student life. Make sure you're checking out universities on social media. Instagram, Twitter are great places to get a feel for how students are talking about their university, how they feel about their university. If you know any students at schools that you're interested in visiting, those are great people to reach out to as well, because they can provide firsthand accounts of those schools. You might even consider, maybe meeting up with them for lunch or just chatting with them a little bit about the school before you visit. And then lastly, make a plan for your visit. So once you know when you want to visit and you get that scheduled, odds are that university will be reaching out to you, communicating everything about your visit, but it might be helpful to do just a little Google research and figure out exactly where you need to go the day of, have parking figured out, and just know where you need to go so you're not stressing about that the morning of. Next slide, please. You. And then during your visit, definitely plan to arrive a little bit early, just because if it's somewhere you've never been, it might take you a little bit to find out where you need to go, and just give yourself plenty of time so you're not stressing about that. As we head in to fall and winter, definitely plan to dress appropriately. I know the weather in Kansas can change very quickly, and so keeping an eye on that forecast and maybe planning to bring a jacket or an umbrella, making sure you're wearing comfortable shoes if you're going to do a campus walking tour or something like that. Being able to get around easily is definitely going to be important. Make sure you have questions prepared. Odds are you'll get to talk with admission staff as well as current students or student ambassadors, and those will be great people to answer your questions. We have a slide about that next, and we'll talk about that a little bit more here, but making sure you know what kinds of questions you want to ask while you're on your visit. Next, be sure to take pictures and notes, especially if you're going to be doing a housing tour or anything like that. Taking pictures can be really helpful for you later for any planning purposes or just for your reference. Sometimes when you go on a visit, you're seeing so many different things and hearing from so many different people at once that it can be a little bit of information overload. And so if you have those visual aids for you later, those can be a really helpful. Consider having lunch on campus or nearby if that's not an option. A lot of times with visits, lunch might be included, or it might be, they might have recommendations for you to head to, and make sure that you explore the town a little bit or wherever the university is located. That is such an important part of where you go to school. It really, the campus is important and you should absolutely check that out and make sure that they have, the academic offerings you're looking for, any support services, athletics, anything like that that you're looking for. But also you'll be living in the town where that university is. So make sure that you like the feel of that as well. Next slide, please. and then some questions to ask. And we certainly don't have to go through all of these, but if you'd like to take a photo, that might be really helpful for reference later. As you're planning to visit colleges, make sure you're keeping in mind what's important to you. And I know Mike touched on this a little bit earlier as you're researching different universities, but it might be helpful for you as well, just to kind of, keep those things in mind and be asking about them while you're on your visit. College visits aren't just for you to see the campus, they're for you to ask all your questions and get to know everything that you'd like to know about that particular university. So keeping in mind, do they have your academic offerings? Do they have the athletics that you're hoping for? How do you go to those things? How do you choose a residence hall to live in? What are class sizes like? Who's teaching those classes? All kinds of different things, and keeping in mind what's important to you will definitely be useful, and making sure that you're asking those things while you're on campus, either admissions staff, or if you do get a chance to chat with current students, they can offer excellent firsthand perspective on what all being a student at that university is like. And with that, I'll hand it over to Amanda.
Great, thank you so much. Now, after you visit the campus, it's definitely going to be really important for you to be thinking about that visit and really to get some of those thoughts out soon after the visit while it's fresh in your mind. This is really important, as you start narrowing down your college options or as you're comparing colleges to each other as well too. So, some students, when they step foot on campus, they'll get that general sense of feeling of, yes, I can see myself here. Or no, maybe this college is not quite right for me. Other students, after they visit, might be a great idea to kind of write out that pros and cons list. And that can help you definitely, compare the colleges that you're seeing with each other as you go through each college visit. And as I mentioned, it's really best to do this right after you visit the college, so that you have those feelings and those impressions, and you can really remember that visit fresh in your mind. Now, I think it's important, especially if you have any one-on-one meetings or smaller group meetings with someone that took that time to meet with you, to write a thank you note. Let them know that you enjoyed your time on campus, that you appreciated the information that they gave you, and especially with them helping with that part of your college search. It's important to let them know. Those thank yous definitely will make a memory in their mind and help them remember you as well too. After your campus visit, I know I work with a lot of students that they go to campus, they tour, they come home, they've thought about the campus, they've thought about the university, they've done further research, and now they're coming up with more questions. So we definitely want you to reach out to us as your admission counselors with any follow-up questions that you have once you visit the campus. Sometimes before visiting campus, you might not be thinking of too many questions beforehand, but after you come home, you start thinking of a little bit more as you go throughout each week. Also, with myself and maybe with some of my colleagues as well too, because I'm a regional recruiter and I can't always be on campus to meet the students that are visiting. I love when students email me afterwards or give me a phone call afterwards and just let me know, that they've been on campus and they want to introduce themselves, and it helps me get to know some of my students a little bit better as well too. Just, that they let me know that they've been to campus and that they like their campus experience, and usually they'll ask a few questions as well too. Now, even though you've been on campus once, definitely be thinking about if you want to make another visit to campus. Quite a few students will do some pretty big college tours to start off. Some might do full day visits to campuses, others are doing a quick tour and then heading to the next college. And so as you, visit a lot of colleges and start narrowing down your list and seeing which ones you're, really interested in, it's a good idea to be thinking about a second visit. If you just did kind of that general campus tour that first time around, maybe, reach out to your admission counselor and see if you came back to campus, if you could learn more about an academic program that you're interested in, or about a department, or, an area of interest that you have. And that second visit can help you kind of get some more information on the very specific areas that you're interested in as you get a little bit more in depth with your college search and you start making that college decision. Those can be very helpful. Now we're going to switch gears just a little bit. We've been kind of focusing on the in-person campus visits, but we also wanted to make sure to take some time to chat through virtual visits as well too. Virtual visits are things that have become, I would say pretty predominant over the last couple of years, definitely as an effect of COVID, when a lot of college campuses couldn't have visits on their campus and a lot of students weren't able to travel to the college campuses. Colleges wanted to make sure that they were still allowing for students to have that interaction and be able to get to know their campus, even if they couldn't be there in person. So, there are definitely some colleges out there that are still a little bit more cautious and maybe don't have as much in-person visits available. But, even if you can go to an in-person visit, it's a great opportunity before you go on your in-person visit to maybe check out some of the virtual visit options, get to know that college a little bit before you go see it in person. It can also be a very cost-effective way to get to know some different colleges, maybe even some colleges that are farther from home that you can't get to too easily. So, it's a great thing to be thinking about and looking at. Because of everything that's happened with COVID in the past couple of years, colleges have really amped up their virtual visit programs. And so there's quite a bit out there for you to be looking at. So, some of the things that you can be looking at, campus tours, I would say most, if not all colleges will have an online campus tour that you can check out. Some of them even being 360-degree tours that you can kind of go in, and as you're watching the tour, you can look all around and get a good feel for the campus and where you're standing on campus. There's some really neat things like that out there. College or departmental information sessions. If you want to learn about an academic college, if you want to learn about honors college, or maybe Greek life or an area that interests you, there's some really great opportunities for college sessions and, that opportunity to interact with those people giving those sessions and ask questions and learn more about your area of interest. Student life is another area, and even some Q&A opportunities where you can interact with current students and learn more about the universities that you're interested in from the student perspective. That's a really important perspective to get. Now, outside of just the general campus tours, housing tours and facility tours, maybe you want to see what the insides of some of the buildings look like, or what some of the dorm rooms look like. And a lot of those tours are available online as well too. I know many colleges, especially with the housing tours, weren't able to allow visitors into their residence halls to see model rooms and things like that. So those online tours can be a great way to get to see kind of the different room setups and what's available on each campus. And then some colleges, have in the past couple of years and are continuing to do some larger online sessions as well too, larger preview days and open houses, some bigger events virtually. And it really allows for students from near and far to be able to join in and learn a little bit more about the colleges that they're looking at as a whole. Now, outside of just the campus visits, and I think it's also worth mentioning some other ways that you can get to know the colleges that you might be interested in or thinking about. And lots of admission counselors right now are offering one-on-one meeting opportunities. So it's a great way to hop on a Zoom with an admission counselor, get to learn a little bit more about the college that you're interested in, and ask them a lot of questions and kind of build that relationship with the admission counselor that you're going to be working with through your college search at any particular college. And then there's some great virtual events going on in different areas throughout the country. So for instance, in Missouri, events like this, the Missouri ACAC virtual presentations, and coming up very soon here, starting at the end of the month, We'll be starting to do some virtual 6x6 events where you can tune in and listen to different colleges give a short presentation about their college. It's a great introduction to some different colleges before you even go on a campus visit. We're also, many high schools, if they're not allowing for in-person visits, they are allowing for virtual high school visits. So just another way to kind of connect with an admission counselor and get to know some colleges better. Now, during a virtual visit, really a lot of the preparation is going to be very similar to an in-person visit. Even though it's a virtual visit, you definitely want to be prepared for it. There might be some interaction, and you want to make sure that you're getting all the information that you want from that virtual visit. So beforehand, definitely make sure that you're still doing that research on the college that you're going to be visiting with. Make sure that you know a little bit about it. Make sure that you have questions prepared for them just in case that opportunity allows itself. So make sure that you're getting on the call early. If there is a waiting room, they'll let you in once the presentation is starting, but you want to make sure that you're there and you're ready to learn about any particular college that you're meeting with so that you don't miss any critical information. You want to make sure to minimize distractions in the background. If you can be somewhere that's quiet and that allows you to concentrate on that virtual visit, presentation, whatever you're tuning into, that's really ideal. You want to make sure that you're paying attention, that you're able to interact, that you're not missing out on any important information that they're giving. So many of the virtual visits that you'll take part in, they'll have the opportunity for questions. If it's set up like a webinar, such as this presentation, you'll be able to ask questions in the Q&A box, or, if it's more of just like a regular Zoom session, you'll be able to kind of ask those questions in the chat as well too. So, you definitely want to be interactive and ask those questions. This is your time with that college. Even if it's not, necessarily in person, still face to face, you're still able to get some great information and get your questions answered. Definitely make sure to be taking notes. Just like any visit, we're going to give you lots of great information during our virtual visits as well too. So you want to make sure that you are taking advantage of that. And then if it is if it is a Zoom meeting, that's kind of the regular Zoom that allows for you to turn your camera on and you feel comfortable doing that, definitely do that. It can help aid in the conversation with the people that you're talking to, and it can help us get to know you a little bit better as well too. Now we've talked a little bit about the virtual opportunities, and we've also spent some time on the in-person opportunities. And there's definitely some other great ways to get to know the colleges that you're maybe thinking about. And some of this is, very similar to how you would prepare for your college visit. But, if you're not able to visit a college right away, you definitely want to still be doing your research, even if you're not doing that pre-visit research. So, checking out their website, learning about their programs, getting a good feel for the college. If you have any friends or acquaintances that that attend a college that you're interested in, definitely reach out to them and ask them about their student experience. I've found in my experience with the University of Alabama that our students, they want to tell other students about Alabama. They want to share that experience. And so sometimes that firsthand information from a current student is some of the best information that you can get. And definitely, some of the most inside information, you definitely feel like you're going to get some good insider info. Social media channels, that's another great way to learn about the academics, the campus life, student life, what's going on campus, and events and things that are happening throughout each week. So it's great to kind of tune in to those social media outlets as well too. Student newspapers, and obviously at this point, a lot of them are available online as well too. It's a great way to hear about, what the important topics are on campus right now, what's happening both on campus and in the local area. It kind of gives you some good insight into what's important on campus, what's going on campus, what's being talked about on campus as well too. And then really, as Emma mentioned, learning about the surrounding area. As you go to college, it's going to be really important for you to find the college that's that right place for you, that you feel like you're going, to love during your 4 years there. But it's also so important to love the town that it's in, because you might want to get off campus. You might want to go explore the town, or go to a restaurant off campus, or go shopping, and go take advantage of outdoor activities. And so it's just as important for you to really like the area that the campus is situated in, aside from, just the campus itself. So definitely do your research. And when you visit a campus, make sure that you're taking the time on campus, but make sure that you're taking some time to drive around and maybe have lunch or dinner off campus as well too, and kind of get that good feel of the city of where each campus is located. So now I think we are going to take time. I'm not sure if we have any questions at this point. So we'll give it a minute or so. In case you do have any questions, I'll definitely, we'll be happy to answer them. Definitely make sure to type those into the Q&A. But at this point, I will go ahead and I will turn it back to Jennifer, our host.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Amanda, Emma, and Mike, for an awesome presentation tonight. You all are coming back on camera. So to give everyone who's attending a couple minutes to think about questions that they might have, and to think about that, we're actually going to do a couple of questions ourselves. So the first thing I would love to know from each of you, we've gotten all these awesome tips about making the most of that visit to campus and ways to connect, in person and virtually. But you are also just such a wealth of info on the whole admissions process. So do you have any other, a top tip or a best practice that you would love to share with those who are attending as they are going through this process? We can, go in whatever order we want. So maybe the order you presented. So this time we'll start with Mike, we'll go to Emma and go to Amanda, and you can each share some top tips, best practices for everyone in the rest of the process.
Okay, so just top things when you're visiting, basically.
It could be the visit, or it could be, outside of the visit process as well, if you'd like.
Okay. Well, I would just say, and I'll go ahead and stick with what we're talking with, and I would just say that, just when you're visiting college campuses, is just to remember that, just take it all in, make sure to be observant, looking around, thinking about it, because it is your home away from home for the next 4 years. So before you go, sit down, write down some questions. If you have family members who are in college, talk to them about that beforehand, and or any friends of the family, anybody you can to help prepare that's already been through the process. I think is a wealth of information to help with, thinking about questions to ask, and then also listen to questions that are being asked when you're on the campus visit, because that may pop another question into your head as well. And especially when you're out on the tour, it's typically going to be a student showing you around. So make sure they are a wealth of information. Ask them questions, be curious, be observant, look around, ask questions. Utilize your admissions counselor too while you're there, if he or she is available to speak with you when you're there. That's I think another thing, but just be observant. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Make the most of your visit. Plan ahead. Utilize all tools necessary. If they allow you to schedule visits where you can meet individually with faculty as well, do that. With other staff or administrators for anything, do that. Just make the most of that time, because especially if it's a visit where I was talking about earlier, where it's across country, where you're leaving from the Midwest and you're going to the West Coast or to the East Coast, that's a trip. So you want to make the most of everything. So be observant, ask questions, utilize everything at your disposal. The colleges and universities are there to accommodate what they can for you when you do the visit. And make sure too, another big tip is, if you're going to go on your spring break, make sure to look at the college or university's academic calendar and make sure your spring break doesn't fall on their spring break, because if it does, you may not get the most out of your visit. There's not a lot of availability because not only students are gone on spring break, but faculty members could be as well. And there could be, staff members gone too. And also too, some students think about, I'm going to go during the summertime. And that's another thing too, that could be an issue for you because campuses can be kind of dead in the summer.
I would say my top tip is definitely to reach out to your admissions representative. There is no reason that you have to sit there and stress about a question. We are always happy to answer those. I've heard all kinds of different questions. Nothing you could ask would be a surprise. So we are always happy to help with those. One person did have a question in the chat. What would you estimate as the typical number of people in a group campus tour? I would say for our normal campus visits, our everyday regular ones, those are about 20 people. We do have some larger visit days, some that might be smaller. When we send tours out on campus right now with COVID, all of our student ambassadors are paired with just one family or group. So you are getting a really individualized experience with the student ambassadors.
Mike or Amanda, do either of you want to comment on your on-campus tours and what that number could look like for your schools?
Yeah, I think right now, I think our biggest tours are also kind of around 25 or so people. Some might be slightly larger. We have some tours that involve a bus around campus, and with COVID capacities and like some restrictions still, those tours have to be kept under a certain number. And then we have other tours that are more walking tours and open air. And so, it can kind of, the number can differ between those. But as Mike was saying, I know we mentioned, definitely be booking tours early. It could be a busy day on campus. We could still have some limited capacities on tours. So we want to make sure that if you're coming to campus that you get that full tour experience. And so definitely be looking early with that.
I would just echo everything that they've said. And I would say too, that with our tours, we're at about what the same Emma said, at about, 15 to 20, if that, and then, with some of our bigger groups, could be at, 100, 200. But with COVID, we're having to change the model of how we do things. So spreading people out more and doing things a little bit differently than how we used to do visit programs, but they're still getting the same information, just utilizing space a little differently right now.
Yeah, and I come from a background of smaller private schools. And so, different sizes of schools and different size campuses are going to have, different answers. And then also, I think this season, as all of our representatives have alluded to with COVID, each school in each community may be doing things very differently depending on where they are in the country. So I think Amanda is absolutely right. Call ahead, and that's a question you can ask, what does the tour experience look like, and to make sure that it's something that you and your family, each student and their family are comfortable with that, or there might be a limit on guests that can attend as well. May only be able to bring 1 or 2 people with them. So I hope the panel doesn't mind I jumped in on that, because I was just thinking about it. I had that conversation earlier. So Amanda, I want to make sure too, before we get to the end, if you have any last top tips, best tips about visits or admissions process to help leave everyone there. I know Mike and Emma have done an awesome job too so far as well. I wanted to make sure you get in there.
Yeah, of course. No, I would say, I think we've covered a little bit of everything on visits. I would say just in general on the college search process, my biggest tip is to just always stay organized. We definitely know that a lot of colleges, you're going to have a lot of information thrown your way as you're going on college visits and as you're receiving emails and talking to admission counselors. And you'll find as you learn more and more about different colleges that, there's a lot of different deadlines and different requirements and differences between the colleges. So, the more organized that you can stay, whether, you prefer to do like an Excel document or something along those lines, it can definitely help you out in the long run to make sure that you're not missing important deadlines or, any important pieces of the processes for the colleges that you're looking at.
Absolutely, absolutely. I hope as we finish up tonight, thank you everyone for attending. If you attended live or if you've been watching from home, the recording, we really appreciate you taking the time tonight. I must first want to definitely say specific thank yous though to Amanda, Mike, and Emma. They have shared so much fantastic information about maximizing the campus tour, the visits, and throwing in some extra info on the virtual experiences that we're having in this season as well. And I hope that it really helps you think about how you and your family and your students are all approaching how to get the best information about each campus as you explore. So thank you all for sharing. Also, I hope that this shows everyone that admission counselors are friendly, approachable people who want to ask questions like Emma said. I can't help but emphasize that as well, that they love what they do. They love helping students and families navigate this process. So really reach out and build those relationships that'll make a world of a difference in what can be an overwhelming but really fun journey ahead. All right, well, as we wrap up the logistics of that, we will have a 5-question survey that will appear when you close your box. We hope you'll take a minute just to answer. I promise it's fast and easy, but your feedback is really appreciated. As we mentioned at the beginning of the session, and Amanda weaved in as well, that there will be a 6x6 virtual college fair programming for Missouri students in just a couple weeks. So we hope that you will head to that same website where you registered for this panel, strivescan.com/Missouri. Keep an eye there so you can sign up and learn about great colleges and universities across the country. And know that this session's recording, as well as all of the other panels, and in the future, those 6x6 sessions, the videos will be posted at the same website where you registered, strivescan.com/Missouri. Thank you again, everyone, for taking time out of your day, and best wishes in your college search and decision journey. Have a wonderful night.